we thought about the story on Sunday, the one that has us for the hero or the victim, never the villain, the one that's stood us in good stead for so many years, papering over the cracks in our history, persuading other people to believe in us. It's the kind of story that comes under the microscope in, for instance, Matthew 23. The sort of story, when you read the last 3 verses of that chapter, that if we don't kill it now, it will be the death of us. What kind of story are we talking about? Well, it's always going to be a story which has us at the centre in the leading role and sets out to persuade other people that that's where we belong. Everything the teachers of the law and the Pharisees do is done for men to see. They love the place of honour at banquets and the most important seats in the synagogue, verses 5 to 7. Trouble is, we don't belong in the centre of the story. And if we convince people otherwise, then we will distract them, potentially fatally, from the one who does belong there. As Jesus says to the crowds and to his disciples, you have only one master, one father, one teacher. It isn't us. And then he addresses the teachers of the law and the Pharisees, and we start to get an idea of the kinds of dangerous storylines that go to make up a picture of life with me at the centre. Here's one. The idea that being religious is my kind of special skill. They say everybody's good at something. I'll never be on Britain's Got Talent. My sporting skills are nothing much to write home about. But hey, my spirituality makes an impression. And of course, if that's all that it's about, I won't actually be going anywhere with that spirituality. I won't be entering the kingdom of God myself, as Jesus points out in verses 13 to 14. And I will shut the kingdom of heaven in men's faces, because they'll be put off, won't they? They'll think, that Duncan, he's obviously got a special knack for this that I just don't have. Might as well give up. And for all that I might say, oh no, you can do it, everyone can. But inside, I'll be rejoicing. No, you can't do it, can you? And that means there's all the more room for me, centre stage and in the spotlight. We move on. Dangerous storyline number 2 could be titled, The Things I Do for God. This will feature all sorts of ways in which we've gone to impressive lengths to serve the Lord. Long journeys over land and sea undertaken to win a single convert. Notice how stories like this are always a way of somehow silencing God. Jesus says, you shut the kingdom of heaven in men's faces. Pharisees' response, I most certainly do not. Look at all the journeys I went on last year, specifically to bring people into the kingdom. You want evidence? I've got the receipts. Check them out. And look at this chap. I converted him, didn't I? So there, shutting the kingdom indeed. God won't be silenced by such stories, though. He knows that the zeal is for cloning ourselves. We succeed, and the clones too belong to hell. Number 3, this is the one where I'm the great teacher. It works best where I can point to the huge numbers of people regularly hanging on my every word. The millions of subscribers who simply can't do without my outpourings. I mean, they need me, you know? Well, quite. Well, even as a daydream, it's pretty intoxicating. And this is why so many, I think, of the great teaching ministries end up teaching error. Have a look at verses 16 to 22. What am I teaching them? Well, who really cares so long as they keep coming back to me for more? Number 4, I am doing exactly what God told me to. Of course, it's not true exactly, but if I take something achievable and measurable that God has commanded, like tithing the spices that I harvest from my garden, I can make out that obeying him is all about that, and ignore stuff like justice, mercy, and faithfulness, which those things can't be boiled down to simple achievable tasks. Number 5, protect the image. Why bother polishing what no one sees? But God sees the image for exactly what it is, sees it, in fact, from the inside out. Number 6 is the storyline that says, I must be a really respectable person because look at all these people that respect me. In other words, we're stupid enough to believe the story because of its success. We've been telling it so long, we've persuaded others to believe it. As Jesus says, some tombs look beautiful on the outside, but the longer they stand, the more the stuff inside rots and decays. Number 7, quite simple. I'm one of the good guys. But if that was true, then who was Jesus? And that's why the story has to go. If you have been, thank you for listening.